Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about overbearing people. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he is this legendary basketball player from the 60s, 70s, and a little bit of the 80s. And he was someone that had a very overbearing mom. The mom was this strict lady. She was this religious lady that wanted to make sure that no one harmed her baby boy. Because Kareem, he lived in this very ghetto neighborhood. He sometimes says it's middle class from his recollection, but the surroundings, there were a lot of bad people. And Kareem's mom knew this. So she wanted to make sure that her baby boy was sheltered and safe. She would micromanage Kareem's life. And by the time that Kareem went from high school to college, he moved away, and he moved away far. Finally, it felt as though that Kareem was capable of making his own decisions. He was capable of getting a thought and acting on that thought without consoling his mom. And I've been calling him Kareem this entire time, but by the time he left his mom's place, he was known as Lou Alcindor. By the time that he moved away, he met new people, and he decided that from the new people that he met, he was going to switch his fate because these new people filled his mind with new thoughts. The mom couldn't believe it. The mom wanted to get back into Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's life, but Kareem was having none of it. From the mom's lens, she thought she was simply being caring. But from Kareem's lens, he thought she was overbearing. They didn't talk for many years, but luckily, over time, they were able to rekindle the relationship. Unfortunately, in real life, a lot of these relationships are not kindled, and it's born from a very sad dynamic. One person genuinely thinks they're being caring. They're doing everything that they possibly can for this other person, but this other person is perceiving the caring individual as overbearing. Overbearing means that this individual thinks this individual is trying to micromanage their life. How are overbearing people born? Overbearing people are born whenever they're trying to remove the conflict from someone else's life. That's how they're born. So in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's case, his mom wanted to shield Kareem from any potential conflict. And by the way, that's a fool's goal, because you can't ever shield someone from conflict. Either the conflict will find them in the external world or the inner world. And the more that you try to shield them from a conflict from the external world, the more that you'll see that these individuals face inner demons. They become addicted to drugs. They become alcoholics. They become anxious, right? Because the mind is a problem-solving machine. And when you try to rob them of problems, they create problems and then try to resolve it on their own. So Kareem's mom, even though she meant well, I get it, she meant really well, she became overbearing because she was trying to shield him too much. And this is where stepping back is needed. Because caring people have the greatest of intentions. They want their child to succeed. They want their partner to succeed. They may want their little sibling to succeed. But the thing is, when you're trying to shield them from all these conflicts, it sounds like the mature thing to do. The caring person's like, well, yeah, I mean, other people should be more like me. They too should shield conflicts from the people that they care about. But that's just the ego talking. Because the ego tries to grasp onto control. The heart lets go of all this control, because all this control, it's simply an illusion. Imagine this. Imagine you're in this kiddie pool, right? You're towering over all the water. You think when you say left to the water and you swish the water to the left, it will go left. When you swish it to the right, it will go right. And now, within this kiddie pool, you think you have control. Sure, within this tiny little context, you may have some control. But imagine this. Imagine that you are standing in an ocean and there's this tsunami that's headed your way. If you've ever watched Interstellar, do you remember that one scene where they think these are mountains, but it's actually a tsunami that is headed their way? Imagine that. And now you're doing your little left-right swishes. It's not doing anything. You have no control. That control was an illusion all along. And Kareem's mom, initially, she thought she had all this control because from her small system of the neighborhood, she thought, when I tell him to come back, he comes back. When I tell him to go to school, he goes to school. When I tell him lights out, lights out. She's thinking she has all this control. But by the time that Kareem goes into the real world, she sees the tsunami staring at her. She's trying to swish left, swish right. Nothing's doing the trick. And she realized that that same caring attitude has been perceived as overbearing to the other person. The fix for being too overbearing is to allow the other person to go through their own conflicts, external and internal. We help. I'm not saying we don't help, but we never try to shield them from anything. They are an individual that has a mind, and the mind is a problem-solving machine. When you try to rob it of any problems, it will create its own problems. And by then, if you have shielded them from so many conflicts, maybe they don't know how to solve these problems. So allow them to solve the problems from the very beginning, and that's when caring remains caring, and caring doesn't become overbearing. Thank you very much for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, and I will catch you next time.